Well, I think we will get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I know we've set up a whole full slate of women's soccer press conference for you, so appreciate you guys joining us here. Before I turn it over to Marla to make her opening remarks, I just want to go through some logistical stuff. I know everyone's pretty prepped and rehearsed on these Zoom press conferences, but if as soon as we do open the Q&A, if you have a question, please use the raise your hand function, or if for whatever reason your raise the hand function decides not to work today, you can certainly direct message your questions to Mark or myself. With that said, when you do open it up for questions or when you are unmuted, make sure, can you please just introduce yourself and your publication? That would be great. So Marla can start putting some names to faces and outlets would be super helpful. With that said, I will turn it over to our interim CEO, Marla Messing.
Thank you, Kirsten. And thank all of you for your interest in women's soccer and the well-being of our players. I am honored and humbled to step into this role at such a pivotal time in the league's history. And I am committed to achieving institutional change on behalf of the players and everyone else associated with this league. To that end, I am pleased to announce that as of this morning, the NWSLPA, led by Megan Burke, and the NWSL have agreed in principle to how we will address all 8 of the requests recently made of us. I couldn't be more pleased about this news, as it allows us collectively to move forward with the investigation in a collaborative manner. I want to reiterate that the league has retained Covington and Burling to conduct a thorough, independent investigation and make recommendations and reforms based on its findings. Covington has been given full access and autonomy to follow the facts where they may lead. The goal of the NWSL is to be the best women's soccer league in the world. We must root out these issues and this behavior in order for us to be in a position to achieve this goal. Thank you.
Thanks, Marla. All right, we will go right into the Q&A. First up, we'll go to Meg Linehan.
I'm Marla, Meg Linehan from The Athletic. Just in terms of, I think the collaborative manner that you speak of with NWSL Players Association is great. I'm just also kind of curious, with so many investigations between NWSL, the PA, US Soccer, FIFA, how are these investigations going to interact with each other? Are, the teams participating? Do we have timelines on any of these, just in terms of like what you can lay out on what we can expect on how these are all going to interact would be great.
Okay. Well, first of all, hi, Meg. It's nice to meet you. So the NWSL and the NWSLPA will be collaborating on a single investigation. So instead of 2, there will be 1. And that, certainly cuts down on some of these issues. The Covington and Burling will also coordinate with US Soccer's investigation. In terms of FIFA and any other investigations, candidly, we have not heard, what their plans are. In terms of timing, it's going to take some time for these investigations to be completed and to be completed in the right manner. I think it's going to be 3, 6, 9 months. And, we don't know exactly until they, begin to uncover the facts. So that's probably about all I can say about timing right now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Meg. Next, we will go to Jonathan Tannenwald.
Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Marla, for the time. Jonathan Tannenwald of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Look, we all know your history in women's soccer and how far back it goes and how much you've done for the sport. But it's been a little while since you've been this far in the women's soccer realm. What made you want to come back? Who perhaps reached out to you about this job? And would you like it more than just interim?
Okay, well, so, the first question, what made me want to come back, as you point out, I was, part of an inflection point in the sport of women's soccer. And, since the 1999 Women's World Cup, the growth and popularity of the game, certainly at the national team level, has really been even beyond what I expected. And to see the various leagues, including the NWSL, but also the leagues around the world, really begin to invest in the sport of women's soccer has been incredibly rewarding to me. So when, the events or the disclosure of the events that happened recently, came to light, I was very interested in stepping in to help. I mean, this is something I care deeply about, and if I can help be a catalyst for change, then that's something that means a lot to me. In terms of how I got to become the interim CEO, given my history in the sport of soccer, somebody reached out to me, Cindy Cohn of US Soccer reached out to me, and I believe reached out to the executive committee of the NWSL to sort of put my name, to put my hat in the ring for the position. And so it was suggested by her, and then I met with the executive committee, and and I know they met with other people and considered other ways of handling this, but ultimately they selected me.
And would you like it?
Oh, would I like it permanent? Look, we have a lot of issues. There are a lot of challenges. And right now, my mandate is to oversee the investigations, to make sure that institutional change happens, and to run the day-to-day operations of the league. And frankly, that is what I'm focused on. I want to be successful at accomplishing those things on behalf of the players and the league, and everything else, time will tell.
Thanks, Jonathan. Next, we'll go to Pradeep Khatri.
Hi, Marla. This is Pradeep Khatri from the Equalizer. I know you said you're committed to change in this league, and one of the things I was wondering is where maybe diversity and inclusion come into your plans, either at a league level amongst hiring there, or even, amongst hires at clubs with coaches and GMs.
Sure. Well, first, hi. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That has to be a priority. We want the league to reflect, the makeup of our players and frankly, the makeup of the community we live in. So absolutely, it's a priority. And we have to start thinking about what types of policies we put in place to make sure that, that we are making progress in that area.
Just a follow-up, I know it's early days for you still, but do you have anything laid out in that department yet?
No, honestly, I don't. As you point out, this is day 3 on the job, and working with the NWSLPA, getting these requests resolved, getting the investigations going. That has been, first and foremost, my priority in the last 72 hours.
And just one more follow-up, if you don't mind. Are you familiar with any of the league's currently existing policies on diversity and inclusion, or is it still just too early for you?
Yeah, honestly, it's still too early for me. But it's something I will, dive into. And, I do have a legal background. And I think that's another reason that, that the executive committee, selected me for this. So these are issues that I'm comfortable getting my arms around, but I just haven't had the time to do that just yet.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Pradeep. Next, we'll go to Pablo Maurer.
Hi, Marla. Pablo Maurer from The Athletic here. Nice to speak with you. I just wanted to ask if there's any update on whether the Washington Spirit has provided sort of a response to the league's investigation into them. I know they were required to do so within sort of this 2-week window, and we haven't really heard anything from the league or from the Spirit. I didn't know if that's happened or if they filed some sort of an extension. What can you share with us about that?
Sure. So, Steve Baldwin has publicly stated that he intends to sell the team. And, we have been involved in, serious discussions about him selling the team. And so even though we had given him 14 days to respond to us, we have unilaterally extended that period of time because, we're very hopeful that a sale will take place, forthwith.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pablo. Next, we'll go to Jeff Kassouf.
Hi, Marla. Jeff Kassouf with The Equalizer. You mentioned the day-to-day, and I know obviously some of the major and pressing and very serious topics are what you're maybe addressing first and stepping into. And just wondering what maybe that day-to-day looks like, and even I don't know if it's semantics, but being an interim CEO in the past, we've had a commissioner and traditionally kind of in charge of the board. Just what does that relationship look like with the board? What kind of interaction you'll have, or even ultimate say over the board you would have, and just kind of what that day-to-day looks like, because there were significant plans, I guess, in terms of the league coming up on season 10, of many on and off field changes that I imagine might be potentially on hold. But just wondering what that day-to-day looks like for you, and what that'll look like going forward.
Sure. So I am the interim CEO, and in some respects, I will be acting, in the same way a commissioner would. I will be part of the Board of Governor meetings, and I will be, working closely in collaboration with the Board of Governors to achieve the things we want to achieve. And I will be managing, the league office. And to the extent that, fans out into establishing policies for clubs and, our teams to be following, that will be my responsibility as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Just a reminder, everyone, if you do have a question, please use the raise your hand function. And then when you're done, if you could lower your hand, that would be great. I have a question from Juliet McCurr at the Times. Marla, why do you think you were the best candidate for this position? Also, in your mind, how could the league be improved even before you know the results of the investigation?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know that I was the best candidate for the position. I was the candidate that was selected for the position. But, look, I think that my history in the sport of soccer, and in particular around the Women's World Cup, again, my legal background, my willingness to jump in right away and work tirelessly to try to accomplish what we need to accomplish, and probably my relationship with some of the players, mostly from 1999, people like Cindy Cohn and Julie Foudy and Kate Margraf, all of whom I've spoken with. And then I guess ultimately, what I was able to convey to the executive committee in the, sort of several phone calls and sort of video, calls I had with them, you know, they must have found, you know, be compelling and someone who could achieve the goals that they would like to achieve.
Thanks. And then she just has one quick follow-up. Do you want the job full-time?
You know, honestly, I want to be successful in what I've been asked to do. That's my focus. It's not insignificant. So I am, you know, I'm focused on that. I'm focused on helping the league build, you know, better relationships with the, you know, obviously with Megan Burke and the NWSLPA, with the U.S. Women's National Team and Becca, with the Black Women's Player Collective. You know, I'm here to try to build a bridge to, you know, to the next iteration of the NWSL.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Theodore. Sorry, Theodore, it only says S as your last name.
Hi, yeah, sorry, that's on me and my Zoom settings. Theodore Hughes from the Striker, Texas. You kind of just touched on it there. I was curious to know if you had any dialogue with the Black Women's Player Collective yet. I know they obviously work closely with the NWSLPA, but are they a separate organization? And if so, what does that look like, or what have you got planned for them?
Sure. So I have not had any dialogue with them. Candidly, you know, my dialogue's been primarily with Megan and the NWSLPA, with Becca and the U.S. Women's National Team. You know, and I've been, you know, trying to meet my staff, you know, meet the owners and the members of the Board of Governors, and, you know, talking to people I know in the soccer community who I think have a good perspective on, you know, what's happened and how it can be remedied. But for sure, you know, I am committed to speaking with the collective and, you know, starting to get out and actually talk to, you know, current players, you know, as much as possible.
And just kind of following up on that last bit in communication, I think there's been some criticism even before all this about communication in the NWSL. Do you have any comments on how you want your communication style to be with players or media or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I think there has been some issues around transparency and, you know, look, I feel good. Again, it's only been 72 hours, but I feel really good about, you know, the relationship Megan and I have, you know, have started to build. I've known Becca for you know, a while now, so I feel really good about that relationship too. You know, it's my plan to be transparent with them and honest and direct, and I expect the same, you know, coming back to us at the league. So, you know, I'm committed to that. I know it's something that, you know, perhaps hasn't happened in the past, but, you know, I look forward to making that change.
Thank you.
Thanks, Theodore. We'll go back to Meg Linehan.
Hi, Marla. One other question. I know the intent had always been to consider the brand of the NWSL ahead of the 10th season. Obviously, again, it is early, but I guess that question is this still on the table? Would recent events maybe even make that a higher priority for the league? What is that kind of on your radar already as well?
So, I mean, certainly, well, first of all, thank you. Certainly, you know, the league coming up on its 10th anniversary, we would love to do something to celebrate that. And, you know, frankly, that is a huge milestone for a women's soccer league. So I think if we can address some of the really hot button issues that we have to address, you know, with enough time to then prepare for a rebrand and a rollout of a rebrand, I would love to do that. I do think, you know, the brand needs some freshening up. And we've also had some real interest from, you know, one of our partners in helping us do that. But first and foremost, you know, we have to We have to make the changes that are fundamental to having a league where players, feel valued and safe and feel like they are receiving the respect that they deserve.
Thank you.
Thanks, Meg. We'll also go back to Jonathan Tannenwald.
Thank you, Kirsten, and again, thank you, Marla. You were asked earlier about the Washington Spirit sale, potential sale. You mentioned that the deadline has been extended. And given that the players, not just the fans, but the players have said they have somebody specific who they'd like to have the team be sold to, and Michelle Kang, do you have the same goal? Do the executives of the league who are going to approve this sale, do they have the same goal as the players?
I mean, I would say generally, I have the goal to have an owner in Washington, D.C. that the players like and respect, and that the players feel, has their best interests at heart. Whether that's Michelle or somebody else, I can't really say. It obviously Steve Baldwin, it's up to him to sell the team. The league does have approval over that sale. And so, we will be watching it closely.
So it's up to Steve Baldwin to sell the team. Is there a provision in the bylaws of the league that could force him out?
Well, let me just say, I have not, combed through the bylaws of the league right now. I do think that the Board of Governors has certain rights, vis-a-vis certain owners, based on the behavior of owners, but I'd be getting ahead of myself if I, suggested that I knew exactly what those rights were at this time.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Pablo, I know your hand's still raised, but I don't know if it's from earlier or if you do have a follow-up question.
Oh, yeah, I've got the follow-up. Sorry about that.
Problem.
Marla, I was just wondering, in regards to the demands the players have made, obviously, you've already expressed that the league is working towards potentially meeting those demands. I'm curious if, from your point of view, the league intends to meet them, or if the league is maybe being more proactive and might even exceed what the players are asking for.
Okay, well, thank you. But yeah, we have met the demands. So I just want to be clear that we're not working toward them. We, absolutely, I was on the phone with Megan this morning, and we've in principle agreed to the requests that they've made, or agreed to how the requests will be addressed. And I do think that, how the investigation will unfold exceeds what they've asked for. But, frankly, I'm not sure how relevant that is. What's relevant is that they believe that they'll be a part of the investigation, and that there will be transparency in terms of the findings and the recommendations that come out of the investigation.
Great, thanks, Marla. Anyone else have any last questions? Theodore?
Hi, thanks, Kirsten. I was just going to ask about the CBA, obviously separate to the investigation and the NWSLPA's demands. Is there a timeline on that, and are you actively involved in the CBA?
So there is a committee of the board that has been engaged in the CBA negotiations. I am just starting to, get engaged in that process, but I haven't been these past few days. And I don't really have a sense of the timing. Again, I just think I don't have enough information at this point.
Thank you.
We'll go to Alicia Rodriguez.
Thank you. Hi, Marla. My name is Alicia Rodriguez. I'm from SB Nation. Given the events of the last few months, I think a lot of fans' confidence in their teams and in the league overall has been shaken. I think understandably so. And so from your position, I'm wondering if you have some sort of pitch for those fans to try and encourage them or give them, a reason to kind of stay on board and continue following their teams, continue following the league as investigations are taking place and hopefully as meaningful change is made.
Well, thank you. Look, I think our players deserve as much or more support from the fans today as they did, a couple months ago. So I'm not trying to make any pitches, but I think our players are just, incredibly deserving of the support they receive from their fans. And I hope that that the events or the disclosure of the events that happen don't diminish that at all. I think that would actually be, it would be, acting, almost in the opposite direction of what the players really deserve and need right now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia. We'll take one more from Bob Williams.
Hi there, Bob Williams from Sport Business. You mentioned briefly potential rebrand. I was just wondering how extensive this rebrand might be. Are we talking about a new logo, a new name? What can you share on that?
Sure. So let me just be, crystal clear. Our first objective is to, get our house in order and to make sure that we are meeting the minimum standards of a professional league and addressing the issues that the players, want and deserve us to address. So if we can accomplish all those things, and then take the opportunity with the 10th anniversary of the league coming around in January to do some kind of rebrand to celebrate that 10th anniversary, we will. I just don't want anyone to think I'm committing to that because, we have higher priorities right now. But, if we can do something, we will. And be, it'd be an amazing way to celebrate the league.
Great, thanks. Well, thanks everyone again for joining us. We look forward to wrapping up the season and heading into playoffs and our championship week. Lots of events coming up here from the league. So appreciate everyone's support and coverage. And Marla, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you, Kirsten. And thank everyone for your questions and for, for your support of the league.
Have a good day.